All right, let's hit this.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the long-awaited BTS, or Behind the Screen, episode 15. 15? It's been so long, I don't even remember.
What is it, 10 episodes? Something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, 10 episodes have come.
Yeah, we're going to be covering episodes
gone.
53 to 63. And we should also mention we're all here.
We should also mention we are.
Yeah.
We are all here.
I want to reiterate that we're probably not going to go into too much detail on all 10 of those episodes, but we are going to do our best to.
Yeah, that's too hard.
To nail it out. Also, before we get started, I just want to put out a quick announcement pertaining to Xavier and I, and hopefully some of you guys out there listening. EverQuest 2. I know, right? You're like, what? Old ass shit. Well, just so happens I love that, and they just released that time lock progression server, and Xavier, your very own Xavier, and myself, and possibly Arame if I can get my laptop fixed, will be on there. You can find me. I actually created a character tonight. My character's name is Moss, Moss. Okay, so add that to your friends list, and if you see me online, hit me up. And we can run a dungeon or something. I'm fucking excited about it.
Are you going to play a ranger?
Nope.
Druid?
Nope.
Then why the fuck are you named Moss?
Because he looks really soft and comfortable, but when you lay down on him, it's just itchy.
Nope. Okay. All right, spoiler alert. My character is a female Erisai, which are the evil fae, right? She's got green hair, green eyes, nice tan skin. And she's a enchanter.
Okay.
Yep.
Those 2001 graphics.
And her fucking dude.
It's later than 2001, right?
Yeah, it's
2004.
It's the nostalgia that kills it.
Yeah, and I'll be playing Excite Bike. So if anybody wants to hit me up on the Nintendo.
I tried to get into that BDO, but no.
Yeah, BDO is not for the faint of heart. It's grind.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just wasn't grabbing me. Not much in MMOs grabs me. This is more so out of nostalgia's sake. We're going to jump in there. We're going to be in there. Server load was heavy, so I'm pretty excited about it. Hit us up. Now, let's get into this. What do we got?
BTS music.
BTS.
Sounds good.
Here we go.
Bam, 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 bam.
Mortal Kombat.
I saw a picture of Scorpion consoling Sub-Zero. Like Sub-Zero's crying, and he's like, "Get over her."
Inspiration. Oh, sweet. BTS
dude.
Inspiration.
That's what we need.
All right, who's bringing us in here? We got the whole crew tonight. I don't know, and nobody knows where to fucking begin.
We left off. I think the first thing that happened after our last BTS. What was our last BTS about?
Did we end? Did we talk about the kind of Twilight Zone episode?
Yeah, we already did that. I think.
Yeah. So that was in the last one.
The King of Feathers.
The King of Feathers is where we could start up on this one, I think.
First major event.
Yeah, we didn't really talk much about it.
Now this is the first opportunity that we have.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I was almost a little let down by the King of Feathers.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah, I think that if the little
It's
his
more like
little
a Jack of Feathers.
Yeah,
he had a terrain buff going, so I think that's why he was so weak,
There was a terrain buff. He could teleport.
Yeah,
that helped.
Scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, that was an
scared the
unexpected
shit.
thing too. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But I think if his the little shitbirds that came out at the end.
Yeah, the Deinonychus.
If they had joined him in the original onslaught, perhaps it would have been more difficult.
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, anytime you add more targets, even if they
Yeah,
had
it
one
was
resources.
distracting and
Yeah, and maybe I should have. I don't know. That was tough. That was a tough fight for me to gauge because
I think the big thing is we had all those NPCs with us.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
That's true.
That's why it was tough for me to gauge.
We didn't have the NPCs. I don't know. That would have been rough. Riga went house on that beast.
Oh, yeah. Him alone, yeah, with that. He went frenzy. Took it down a good chunk right there from the get-go.
Well, and also, did we have a fifth player?
Then we had Wesson, right?
Wesson was with us then?
Wesson, yep. Oh, and I may
So it was a huge party.
I weigh as well.
Wesson does that to you.
Wesson does it to me. I may as well mention.
Just own it.
Just roll with
I
it.
almost spit my Irish drink here.
Wesson.
Oh, is it St. Patty's Day
It is
today?
St. Patty's Day.
Our very own Dustin Marshall, you know him as Wesson, is leaving on the Appalachian Trail tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh, he leaves tomorrow?
He leaves tomorrow. Him and his buddy are going to hike the trail. They're going to be gone for a few months out in the wilds of Chult.
Wow, that came quick.
Yeah.
It did.
Was it start in Georgia?
So
Yep.
they'll be in our thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, have fun out there.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
I'm jealous.
And maybe when in those pockets where they can download episodes, they'll get this one, and they'll hear that. Thanks for joining us,
I think
Wesson.
we'll be rivaling
And
We'll be rivaling Game of Thrones at that point, though.
Yeah, whatever. That's true. Anyway, I just figured I'd throw that out there. So he's out there in the world. At least will be by the time you hear this. So
Walking.
Yeah.
Hiking.
Walking Wesson.
Hiking through the wretched jungles of
Appalachia.
Appalachia.
Hopefully he'll find his peace like Wesson did.
Oh, hopefully not the
Wesson's
way
probably
Wesson
dead.
did.
All right.
man.
So, yeah, it was the King of Feathers. Yeah, it was hard for me to gauge. You guys had a ton of NPCs. Orvex was there. Riga was there. You also had Wesson, an extra actual person. So, yeah, I should have threw in those Deinonychus to fight alongside it, but I didn't. And not a big deal. We moved on.
I'm just itching for a character death, honestly.
Yeah.
Or near death.
I always think that I am, and then when
We
it
have a
starts
couple
to
near
happen,
deaths.
I
Yeah.
panic. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah, I'm like, I love my ult, and then like Cappy's almost dead, and I'm like, I better not fucking die. I better not die. I better not die.
Oh, I didn't mean Quincy. Like Quincy shouldn't die.
I guess from that fight, it is worth mentioning we had a little discrepancy, with difficult terrain, and I may as well reiterate this right now.
Bringing up old shit.
Yeah, we've moved on.
When other place to do it than now during a BTS, in case other listeners are having the same kind of battle at their tables with this difficult terrain. Any DM out there, this is what I do, all right? Especially if you're looking at a map, all right? If there's any kind of crinkles and nooks and crannies on the map or bones or anything like that,
Or spilled coffee stain.
don't be afraid to call it difficult terrain, and don't be bullied by your players. Stick to your guns. If you've got a player that's out there and he's giving you a hard time, make it extra difficult terrain under him that follows him around.
I think I think that when you brought up a statistic, and I don't know if was that a red statistic or was that just like a
It was a statistic that vaguely based on, well, I guess the statement in I can't remember if it was the player's handbook or the DMG. It was a semi-vague statement, but it did say that combat rarely takes, I don't have it in front of me, I'm paraphrasing here, combat rarely takes place on, smooth ground and, non-difficult terrain, essentially, So I think that could have been perceived just for the sake of creating the summary block for the difficult terrain section,
Yeah.
Some examples they brought up were like stairs and forest floors and stuff like that.
I thought it made sense to me when you said it that most stuff would occur in, difficult terrain, or a lot of it would. That's just
Yeah, but I don't consider a forest floor difficult per se. Sure, it's not like, a wood, it's not like a marble floor or whatever. It's not like a smooth floor, but it's not like a marsh or muck or, a grease spill.
Yeah,
or,
maybe
it's not like,
you could also talk about it.
it's not lava.
Yeah, you could say, well, because forests are so different. Sometimes it's beautiful and clean cut, and the floor is like nice and smooth.
Absolutely.
But other ones, there's gnarled tree roots, and
Absolutely.
But that's where you could also throw in, like, bring the flavor of those kind of things from a forest into like a critical fail.
Yep.
For example, like, because the way we play critical fails, you lose all of your subsequent actions. So, your foot got stuck in a hole, or you got caught in a root or whatever. It's not like debilitating, but it prevents you from using the rest of your actions that turn. But I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, I think we've been pretty reasonable with the difficult terrain. I think there was that one. That one occurrence, but I don't think that any of us has contradicted choice of difficult terrain.
I think we play within the realm of.
So just to reiterate before moving on, just to put this out there, because I don't like paraphrase. I should have this stuff in front of me when we're doing it, just so we don't, you know what I mean? Combat rarely takes place in bare rooms or on featureless plains. Right. Boulder-strewn caverns, briar-choked forests, treacherous staircases, the setting of a typical fight. And it's because of the use of the choice of words they use that gave me the idea that most of the time fights are your typical fight is gonna be difficult terrain
or involve areas of the map.
Areas of it, right?
And it's juicy.
Yeah. So, so I just wanted to go into that, I guess, because it was in that fight. What's next?
Oh, before we wrap up the King of Feathers stuff, if we're almost done with the King of Feathers, I'm curious to know if there's any plans to use the feathers that we harvested. I mean, we all kind of thought, like, hey, there are these beautiful exotic feathers. We just slain, like, this legendary monster, and we started taking trophies. We've seen Copernicus in the past make some interesting things. Anybody have any specific plans for these?
I've got the horn and some feathers. I think everyone else took feathers, but I mean, I'm going to make something out of them. I don't know exactly what yet or when I'll have the opportunity to do that, but it would be cool to incorporate the both of them together.
Yeah, I always imagined Irame saving trinkets to bring home to her father, as her father used to do when he would go out adventuring. He'd bring her home trinkets and stuff. So
interesting. Yeah, it's funny because the whole time I was just picturing you guys bringing them back to Daniel Devitas, and he was hucking them on the market and making money for the company. Or you're hanging them in the hall in the 3C shipping.
Here's a question:
generate some renown.
That's definitely a good option.
Idea, yeah.
How big is the feather? How big is a typical feather?
Typical T-Rex feather.
Gotta be at least like 2 feet long.
At least, at least.
I think Quincy will use it as a quill. We'll have this big giant quill,
and he could put it in his hat. Call it macaroni.
Here, I was thinking about giving it to fucking Volo or something.
There you go.
He'll use it to sign as Johnny Hancock on the Constitution.
we can put shaving cream in Copernicus's hand and tickle his nose
with it. All right, what's next on the after the King of Feathers fight?
Quickly, I want to bring up episode 55, Live Free or Dionychus, or how do we say it?
Deinonychus.
Deinonychus. That's a cool ode to our state, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Live free or die.
You know what's really cool? Also, side note, playing Fallout 76, I the other night took a picture next to, there was graffitied on one of the doors that said "Live free or die" on it, and I was like, no shit. So I took a screenshot of it with me standing next to it,
like an asshole.
Yeah,
because you're in West Virginia and they have a fucking New Hampshire motto on the door. Fuckers.
I heard the game was bad, but I didn't realize it was that.
I don't want anybody out there to think that they can't use "Live Free or Die." I mean, yeah, sure, it's New Hampshire state motto, but it's also a good code to live by.
Absolutely.
Got tattooed on my back.
Yeah.
Your lower back?
No.
Yeah. I remember slapping the FR one time.
It was K-Ways.
Well, I was fondling the Krugen sphere.
That'll never happen.
All right, what's next?
Bag of nails.
Yeah, that'd be the next.
The bag of... Okay, yeah, so the King of Feathers fight ends. Red Wizards come in. Now, at that point, the Red Wizards were like...
Yeah, that's something we should talk about before we move on to Bag of Nails. We gave Wesson away.
It kind of leads into it. Yeah. So Wesson takes a hit. Now, clearly, he was gearing up to go on this hike. He came in, joined us for a little bit. I would have loved to have him on permanent, but we already talked about this. So that was his out. And in the process, and it just goes to show you what that kind of shit does for your story. The Red Wizards end up taking him to the heart of Uptau, where his body can be preserved, right? And up to that point, the Red Wizards were your enemies to an extent. You were racing against them. And I think everybody had it in their head that there would be a fight, a climactic fight. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not exactly.
We had on the table the option of talking with them.
I think there's a literary word. You know, normally you have a protagonist and an antagonist. There's also what they call a contagonist, which could be like more like a rival. It's not quite an enemy, but maybe like a rival.
Like Slytherin.
Yeah. Malfoy, maybe. It could be a contagonist.
Yeah.
Conflict was to some degree or another would have happened with these guys. I think that was the general consensus, whether it was a verbal conflict or something. They were racing for the cubes, you were racing for the cubes.
Fuck me, fuck you.
You know, honestly, I think if we didn't have Orvex through all of that, I don't think things would have gone as well.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right, Zavril. It actually states in the book that if Orvex is with the party, it opens the bridge of not a friendship, but
negotiation,
an allied. What do you call that? Because without Orvex, they would have attacked you on sight. They're the Red Wizards, you know.
Well, I guess we made the right call to save them then.
Yeah.
Yep. So, you know, there's some things that are written in the book, obviously other things that I made up, but that was one of those things. If Orvex is with the party, then you have a chance of negotiating a deal or, working together with the Red Wizards. So then, moving on from there, they say, now I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to get loot, right, from the King of Feathers fight, and that was a little tricky. I was like, well, the Red Wizards are there. If you guys go searching for loot and you find these magical weapons and they see that, they're going to fucking, not knowing you yet, really, they're going to take the weapons from you because that's just how they are.
They could try.
Right. Well, there would have been a fight. So instead, I painted up the whole scene of them leaving and you guys meeting them to buy you some time.
It all worked out because I left with Wesson's body.
With Wesson's body and Orvex, right? So Orvex went with them. You guys find that Quincy finds his crossbow. Zavril gets his plague mask. And I think we said in the episode that I looted those items off of D&D Beyond. They were user created. Went on there looking for some cool, not too overpowered, not too quirky items because there's a lot of shit on there that's just fucking out there, just goofy.
What was the crossbow again? Did it have cold damage? Was that?
I think it was add 1d6 frost damage. Every hit, yeah.
And with and now that he's dipped into rogue and gets sneak attack, that's 2d6 on top of his regular damage.
That's right. Yep. So
finally, he could feel a little bit effective doing something besides just support.
Right.
Because there are times, where he burns through inspirations or runs out of cure wounds.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to attack.
Right, yeah, and feel effective, absolutely.
Right.
Not to say that you don't. I mean,
he's no slouch with the rapier.
I was just going to say that.
It's no small task to, kind of evolve your character in a way that, is cohesive.
I think
and multi-classing is a good way to do that without somebody being like, Quincy wouldn't do that, or Irme wouldn't do that,
I think 5e in general does a great job at giving everybody every class a little bit of bite. I love that about it. It coming from other editions and shit where, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking about. Some classes just don't have bite, and that's fine because you have your roles, but
right, everyone's
got something they can bite with to some degree.
Whether it's only one time or per rest, but there's something there.
Yeah,
but it must be nice that you actually got an upgrade out of our DM, because I mean, for a solid 2 years now, I don't think
I've gotten one ring of +1 ring of protection in the last.
Now, Ash and Abyss, he got the bow, but then we stopped.
I've never even gotten an inspiration. I got one in the group inspiration, but I've never gotten one just for
Your maze.
I got one for making a joke. I think it was a joke.
I was listening back, and I should have gave Christy an inspiration for that fucking Alex Jones joke with the Fey Frog.
See, even removing out of the jokes,
showing up with the wine.
Maybe even for the role play with the mother.
No, there was plenty of times.
Role play with the mom. That was
definitely inspiration worthy. A lot of times, guys, I just forget about it. Honestly, it's a new rule.
We have to be better about
you need to remind me.
Everybody could.
You guys need to pine for it, and you guys do sometimes, inspiration. And oftentimes I'm like, oh yeah, those exist. Yeah, inspiration. But we've never, I've never played with it in the past. It's a whole new thing to me, and I just forget about it with everything going on. So yeah, definitely remind me. There's ideas in the player's handbook about it that there's an idea to give one out to everybody each session. Try to find something that they do to earn it during a session to promote role. That's the other thing, is it's really in there to promote role playing, get people in, and you guys are already in, and you know what I mean? So it's I
think we've also, might have been in a BTS, discussed giving them to players to give out.
Yeah.
So it's not just at the, just at the DM's
Interesting,
discretion.
yeah.
That is another option in there.
I like the inspiration well.
That we used in Ruby.
That was a good idea. How did that work mechanically?
The only thing I don't like... Okay, yeah, to explain how it works is there's... Well, I'll let James do it. He brought it in.
Yeah, there's the bowl in the middle of the table with 3 D20s in it. So everybody can pick them out and use them as they want, and then the DM gets them to use with his monsters.
Ah.
Right.
So the idea is to get people to just start using them. So.
Right. The one caveat I have with that is... is as a DM deciding when to use those might be tricky.
Deadly.
Might be tricky.
Deadly.
Yeah, it might be tricky, and it might generate some really, dude. You're gonna use your
but I mean,
it'd be like Cootie Gran.
You can't blame the DM, because as a player, when you take the inspiration from the bowl, you're putting it in
what
play.
You're signing up for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. And no, I see that. I do see that, but still, I can only hear it in that fucking moment where I'm like, I'm fucking doing it. I'm doing it.
It was like
Copernicus has 5 hit points left. I'm doing it.
I would just go for it.
Wasn't that intimidating and
put the risk
putting the risk out there? And maybe it's because Irame constantly plays with the fact that she could blow everybody up on accident at any point in time.
Well, I think what would eventually happen is that somebody would start using them too much. And then somebody would get blasted, and then the party would start fighting. That's kind of what I was hoping for.
Well, I was actually just gonna say that if we were using that system, I would probably use that inspiration on the person who took it out of the bowl.
Just kind of take a mental note. That's a good idea.
Yeah, just to give it back to him.
At least 70% of the time.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But all right, yeah, and then the bag of nails. What'd you guys think of that encounter? That was a in book encounter.
Did we ever find out what happened with the saving throw that we made?
I was wondering that too, and it's been bothering me.
Not yet. Not yet. That's coming down the pipe here.
Yeah, because listening back, there is a Quincy fail and a Zavril fail.
What are these saving throws for?
After we hung out with Bag of Nails for a bit, and
he gave us some food.
we ate some food, and then
when
we rolled a
ate
Constitution
it, we had to roll the
saving throw, and Quincy and Zavril failed with a 2 and a 3,
Cappy passed
with a
like boss.
20, and
Yeah,
Yerme with an 18.
Yeah, I think I actually thought that was my mistake. What I should have done is put a note on when that actually triggers, and then when it triggers, make you roll the saving throw. This way you don't. This way it's not in your mind.
We don't have to remember who passed and who failed.
Yeah.
Right.
I committed it
But
to
we know-
memory
we know now.
after
Right now you know,
being
so
curious
it's
about
like,
it. Yeah.
you know something's gonna happen.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's
back,
been bothering me for episodes now.
so back in Nails, that was interesting that he had like the bridge, and we had to get across the bridge while under fire, and he was.
It was an interesting fight.
It was. It opened up pretty tricky.
Yeah.
the
It was tricky
rooftops.
for us.
Yeah,
For some
there's
reason though, I had no animosity towards that character. Like right
Almost
from the beginning.
pity.
Yeah, I knew he was like crazy, and I didn't want to hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I seriously saw Zavril that way. If, say, his current party gets wiped out, I see Zavril getting lost in the fucking...
He's
in
gonna
Joel
live
like that.
Him and Back of Nails are gonna be roomies.
So he was like, "I'll take the
Be
North
like-
Bridge."
yeah.
We should make a sitcom. It's like Savril Dawn Tracker and Bag of Nails.
Yeah.
You'll grow an immunity to that food.
Like Larry Appleton and Belky. Wow. That blowing the dust off the old sitcoms there. What's the name of that one?
Oh,
Perfect Strangers.
yes.
Boom. Oh my God, I'm on fire tonight.
But,
It's
I mean,
the-
everything about him, like, he couldn't save his son. Like, I don't know. I really...
Sympathized with him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of it really kind of mirrored Savril, huh?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, Zavril kind of caught a glimpse into his own future there. No, that was I liked it. I liked how it played out. It was fun. An interesting character. Interesting, even more so interesting that it took place in Omu,
I like the tabaxi.
No.
You played one.
Mm-hmm.
Our episode 1920 special.
Yep.
6 feathers.
Yeah. 6 feather.
6 feather. Wonder whatever happened to her.
No.
Were you subject of the King of Feathers?
Right. I was his 6th feather. No. But yeah, the tabaxi are cool. I read a lot about them, obviously, when I made that character, and I thought they were really neat. And I'm not normally into playing, like, well, it's still humanoid, but,
All right.
kind of branching
Furry
further out.
creatures.
Yeah. It was good.
Will you play one again? Do you think?
I would definitely play one again, for sure. I would love to just play 6 feather again.
Yeah.
Flesh her out.
Yeah, maybe we can do a little special episode. What am I talking about?
No, I
Special,
think we
special
decided
episode.
6 feathers didn't make it. Last ditch
Yeah, but
effort.
it'd be
We could
nice.
do a prequel.
It'd be
Yeah.
nice to see how she didn't make it, though.
Right.
That's true.
Because that's interesting. Because I know how she didn't make it, and I bet that'd be fun.
Poison
What? She didn't
dots
make
and
it?
curses.
Oh, fuck no, she didn't make
No.
it.
No, you don't know that for sure.
I think
I think
there-
she made it.
You should have her roll a 20 right now.
yeah.
Roll a d20.
I think it'd have to be a pretty slim chance. I think there was like certain mechanics about going in there.
I love that. That's still one of my favorite scenes from this entire podcast.
Yeah, I didn't get an
Is that
inspiration
tear?
for that either.
Yeah, the tear drops down. And then she walks into the darkness of that fucking creepy ass tomb.
Yeah, what a great episode.
I loved how, not to get too derailed from our current BTS, but I loved how when Kaderin wrote the note, Camp Right just belongs to the dead. Savril, Kevin's like, oh, wow. That's kind of like the same. That's what the note said that we got.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's like, that's crazy.
Yep.
Oh, shit. Good times,
Good
guys.
times, yeah.
Oh, my God.
If you go back and listen to it again, I mean, if you're listening to this BTS, chances are you've already listened to those 2 episodes. But episode 19 and 20, good times.
Yeah, good stuff.
Those are still my 2 favorite episodes, by the way.
What's next? So after Bag of Nails, I think we already covered enough of that.
Did we meet the Red Wizards?
Yeah.
I think that was the last time we rested.
That was the last time
Really?
you rested. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the effects of that save didn't go through yet, because
Good
it
thing I
hasn't
brought
been
in.
It hasn't been that long.
right.
Right.
It's the same day of that. You guys woke up that morning or that
Yeah,
night
we're
or something.
busting ass. Like,
You're burning the fucking oil.
we arrived in the city.
She's digging through her journal right now.
I believe it was 13 hammer. No, that was less than that
What is it now?
because
19
that was when we found
It's 19 hammer.
the halfling, the hung halfling with the brung,
It's an oxymoron.
the hanging halfling.
No wonder why he's so cheerful.
Now you know why I don't like them. Oh shit. Oh man, we kid. Yeah. So to your point, it's only been
We've only been in the city a few days, essentially.
Well, we left Nyanzaro on night all 26. That's when we left Nyanzaro.
yeah,
And it's now what, hammer night? Oh,
Hammer 19.
18 or 19.
18 or 9. It's 19 hammer currently.
Yeah.
So that's like 3 weeks ish, 10 days.
We left Nyanzaro in
Excuse me.
episode
Almost.
Excuse me.
26.
Wow.
Episode 26.
Holy shit.
We were just little babies.
Yeah.
We were just cute little babies.
We're adventurers.
Yeah. Quincy's clothes are all crisp and clean. And,
Yerme's glasses don't have a scratch on them.
yeah.
See, I was smart. I rotated characters so that I didn't have to rest.
No.
Oh,
You guys are all burnt out. I brought a freshie in.
that's true. Yeah, that was back when Zavril still had clothes on.
Yep.
Oh, we didn't get that far yet in the BTS. All right, so the rejoining up with the Red Wizards. You entered the hovel. You found them there. What was left of the Red Wizards now after, after they get massacred by Rasnasi's forces. Only a handful of them remain. Zagmira, who's the leader. Dyrax, I don't know all their names offhand, but they take you in. That's where you discover their mission, and kind of you guys join forces at that point.
And at that point, like, we had already been talking about the fact that while we're raiding shrines, they're also raiding shrines. And we knew that we were eventually going to hit a shrine that had already been raided.
Yeah, John had told us that for every cube we got, they got.
Yeah, but you weren't supposed to know that.
Oh.
That's metagame.
I mean, we were
Meta-man.
we were
Well, we
speculating.
can
Meta
mention
make
it
coming
in the
out.
BTS,
We were
right?
speculating anyway. I mean, and it so happened at that point we had already looted as many shrines as we could because the Red Wizards had the rest minus the one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So mechanically, the way it's written in the book is after you retrieve the first cube, that's when the race begins, and every cube you get, they get one. And there's a little chart where you can do it randomly, or you can hand pick. What I did is I read through all the shrines.
Nice, and you handpicked.
And I handpicked because, we're doing a show and some of them might be better than others to put in there, right?
So BTS wise, what can you quickly go over what we missed for shrines?
Oh, I don't remember any of them. I picked the best ones, so I fucking, I don't want to say I picked the best ones because there's someone out
the
there
ones
that are
that he
like,
liked.
what, you didn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, in your opinion.
Was
But
there
in my
a
opinion,
chance-
for our situation, I picked the ones that I thought would be really cool.
I would have gone
mean,
random each side, and then so that the next shrine that we went to could possibly have already been looted.
Right,
and,
that's
and
what I
vice
was about to
versa,
ask.
and vice
Like,
versa with the Red
While
Wizards.
it was up to us, could we have gone to one that they had already looted?
Oh yeah, because
Did
we
you
were
already
making
have it
choices,
predetermined?
too.
Yep.
Or are you just going to throw it to us?
No, I mean that part was on rails pretty much as far as fate goes. I wasn't gonna have you guys go in necessarily. Instead, what I did to make it fit a little bit more realistically, I separated the city up into two quadrants, right? Or I guess
Oh yeah,
two
that's right.
halves.
That makes
halves.
sense.
and had their
Right.
headquarters on the palace side. So they got all those shrines, right?
Yep.
And so there was a little bit of a big picture
And
thing
didn't we
going
see
on.
them
And we-
across the way at one point?
Yeah, across the
We
lava
did, yeah.
bridge.
Yep. Yeah, and we
So dividing
definitely
it spatially.
and
Yeah.
we definitely as a group wouldn't pass a shrine.
No.
Exactly,
You're right.
and I don't think they would. So
Yeah.
so I went. I read through them all, and then with that in mind, also applied that filter as well. That's why I didn't want to say I picked only the best ones because there's a little bit more to it, and I don't want people to think that.
Especially our group.
I don't want
It
people
wouldn't
like,
matter
oh,
what
you
it was
should have brought him
guarded
to
by.
that shrine. You know, that would have been fucking sweet. But no, I had a little system that I did.
And we meet Svitlongi
Yes,
at this meeting.
enters.
Yeah, it was
Svitlongi.
while
Excuse
you
me.
guys were. It was while the party was with the Red Wizards, and Svitlongi comes through the tunnel, enters.
Yeah, that entry, huh? Svitlongi enters the room with the
Thaumaturgy
thaumaturgy
spell, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
a good spell.
the mirror image or the
Mm-hmm.
It was like not the spell mirror image because there was only one other one. It was.
yeah.
I forget the name of it. It might be called Duplicity or something like that.
Yeah. It was cool.
Appropriately so.
No, that was a great entrance. I liked it a lot.
So obviously the party doesn't exactly trust this Yuanti, but what were the impressions when this pureblood comes in? It's like, hey, can I join your group?
She was very calm, cool, and collected. That's one of the things I picked up from her.
I think Svitlongi's saving grace as far as gaining even a little bit of our trust was her helping Zavril.
Yeah.
It was a well played move.
I would agree.
Yeah, I like the way you guys tied that all in together. Because, Zavril, you were absent for a bit from the podcast with work.
Yeah, we did
So-
discuss that. Yeah, and that's when, and we recorded Zavril's part separately with Charlie, me, Charlie, and K-Way.
Yep.
Did those.
Yeah, that was awesome for me because when the episode came out, all of a sudden there was that part in it, and I was like, "What? What is this?" This is fucking. It was a good surprise for me. You probably knew, so I was probably the only
Well,
one that
she had
didn't
come
know.
a couple of the nights because
yeah,
it was
man.
over the course of a few nights. There was, but they were on nights where she was working late, so she'd come home like
Oh,
halfway
okay.
through it, and
Right.
so she did know about it, but she didn't catch the entirety of it.
Right.
Yeah, and it was good bringing an alt in. I kind of like switching it up every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Does anyone else have any ideas to bring alts in? Can we talk? Can we say that, or are we going to hold on to a surprise?
Yeah, I'm not talking about my alt.
In general, I mean, apart from specifics about alts, I am just nervous about going from Irame to just someone completely new. Is like whole new attitude.
Yeah.
Can we expect any other alts making appearances before too long?
I mean, I've said it before on the podcast, or at least on BTS's, but I love making characters. I have at least 2 more alts, probably 3 more alts
Yeah.
ready to go.
All right. Yeah, I was just trying. That was me trying to get some little behind the scenes info for you guys.
I'm wondering
listening
about-
at home.
I don't want to commit to
Kevin's-
anything.
Yeah, I know Swaney's been plotting because he's been smirking every now and again whenever the word alt comes up. But Kevin's been awfully quiet.
Yeah, he's been quiet about it.
I have actually had my ult in mind ever since the Vine there.
The assassin run.
that was enough to
Vine.
inspire him. Yeah, he's like, I thought I was going to die. I should roll an alt right now.
Yeah, mine was
No,
the
I
gladiator
mean,
fight.
I had actually created him, and I knew what I wanted to play ever since we rolled up characters before we started playing. I created the ult, but I came up and fleshed out a really interesting personality for him. So
All right, cool.
Okay.
You heard it here
I had
first.
been very intrigued. And some of these times I kind of hoped I would die, but
Yeah.
That can be a side effect.
But then when you're in the shit, as
Alt-itis.
mentioned earlier, when you're in there, and then all of a sudden your main character is about to die. It all goes out the window, and you fight like a son of a bitch to stay alive.
Now, Christy,
What's this rule?
Yeah.
fucking
what?
difficult terrain?
What?
That's bullshit.
Fucking 1 to 10 is a fail. What the fuck?
So, Christy, you said you were nervous about moving to another character. Is that I'm assuming that's in terms of role play.
Yeah.
But do you still have like an alt in mind?
Yeah, I have an alt in mind. I actually have a couple ideas about exactly how she'd fit in, or she. It's gonna be a she. Well, I'm kidding. I can't play a dude.
You kind of almost are.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could play a dude. I'm not good at voices though, and I'd feel like I'd have to deepen my voice to play.
Let's
a
hear
dude.
your dude voice.
Let's hear
I
a
don't
good
have a
dude
dude voice.
voice.
You just started to. It was pretty good.
Me.
Look at my muscles. No, I don't know.
This character would be fucking awesome.
I would,
Let me get the door for you, ma'am.
I would just be Leo.
Who's that?
That's her brother.
I was thinking the Beauty and the Beast. Who's that fucking
Oh yeah,
Gaston.
Gaston?
Yeah.
Gaston.
Wow, K-Way busted
Yeah.
out with it. I was at a lot. I don't think I've ever seen
No
Beauty
one
and the
spits like Gaston.
Fucking hated Gaston.
He's a great character though.
But you love to hate him.
Yeah.
Is he played by Billy Zane?
No.
He's a cartoon.
Cartoon.
I don't know who
Is he
Yeah.
voiced by Billy Zane?
I don't know.
Billy Zane would be a
I'm
great.
trying to think of the live action movie now.
I was just thinking of Titanic, that because that was a role that Billy Zane took that like destroyed his fucking career. Right?
No, you know what? Bruce Campbell would make a good Gaston.
Yes,
Oh,
he would
okay,
make an
alright.
excellent.
I'm
He's
there.
got the right bone
God,
features in
he's
his face,
The
right?
jaw,
Yeah.
the arrogance.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
the arrogance, definitely.
That was good
I remember when he
casting.
came out to Iraq to visit us while we were deployed.
Oh, sweet.
Oh wow!
What?
There you go. Damn.
Yeah, I met him. He hung out with us inside of our motor pool for a few hours.
Did you guys read from a book?
It was back when what TV show was it? Bird Notice was on.
Oh,
Him
yeah.
and the other character from Bird Notice were out there.
No shit.
So, yep.
Were they there as their characters or?
Just visiting troops.
Did you play D&D with him?
No.
Well, that's how I'm going to one-up you. One day I'm going to play D&D with Bruce Campbell.
Actually, he was quite arrogant. I don't know.
Or if you're listening to this, Bruce, don't mind the shit talk there.
He's
We-
just
we love
jealous.
you.
He's just jealous of your jawline.
Yeah.
I am. No, everybody was all bringing up like Evil Dead and stuff, and I tried to bring up Bubba Hotep, but he didn't want to have it.
He wasn't hearing it.
It's the other one, Briscoe County Jr. or something like that.
What was the alien one? You know what I'm talking about, K-Way?
The show.
No, it was. I thought it was a movie that he did.
He did a show.
Wicked cheesy.
He was a doctor in
I-
it or something.
Well, he did Escape From, where he was actually the fucking general surgeon as well.
So
What's next on? What's the next topic?
we were talking about...
yeah, alts. So
Alts,
yeah,
yep.
it would definitely be the role play would be what just starting over with a whole new attitude. But there's also the want to do it. Every time it feels so noticeable when I try to force Irme in a different direction, where she's being more aggressive or not as friendly with people and I've tried to do that to try to add like a little dynamic and conflict with her character, choosing people for her not to immediately like, because in the beginning everybody was, Irme liked everybody.
Yeah.
And I felt like every time I made a decision to not like everybody, it felt not like forced, but maybe just really noticeable.
Yeah. Well, so that's interesting because it brings up like, if you want to add character depth, you don't necessarily have to contradict your well-known character traits. Or if you do, maybe, I don't know, there should probably just be some sort of either motive or explanation, but a lot of times, like, we're just flying by the seat of our pants.
Yep.
So, like, I know I've gone crazy with my characters.
I don't know. I feel like you've kept Quincy pretty in line, and then
To some degree, he's also led me in that, like, I've run away with him a little bit, but let him run away.
But he's going to. He's a young
Yeah.
man now in the fucking jungles of Chult. You know, like how like
the jungle does something to a man.
Exactly.
It's alien apocalypse.
I
for the
think
record.
sometimes too for listeners, it's easy to fill in. It's easier to fill in the gaps than we think. You know, so it's like for me, it feels like I'm thinking Irame wouldn't use necrotic damage on somebody, or Irame wouldn't just dislike someone immediately and distrust them. But listeners who are, you know, listening, especially if they're listening in a row, a few at a time, they know that stakes were rose for Irame, and so therefore she would be a more tense and maybe show different attributes she'd never shown before. So I think people are probably more forgiving of those changes than us.
I don't know. It caught me off guard. Irame used to be so, like, innocent and naive.
Yeah.
I liked when Anit showed up and Irame had a little bit of a, I don't know, we'd call it catty might be.
That was an interesting thing
like
where
a
the
rivalry.
character took off on me because it was intended to be like a metagaming joke, and it turned into this thing where I had to keep repeatedly saying that Irame does not dislike Anit. I keep
And
saying
we just
it.
don't believe you.
Yeah.
Or we didn't want to believe
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
We wanted
We
it
like
to
our
go.
version.
Yeah. So it's true. It's like they get away from you at times.
Yeah. What's next on the topic?
Next is the Fane.
Oh, which is the whole reason why Svitlongi showed up to begin with.
Yep. To lead us into the Fane.
And why we were teamed up with the Red Wizards, because between us, we had all but one puzzle cube.
Yep, and with Svitlongi's knowledge of its location with Rosna Sea, we were able to move forward to our last missing puzzle piece.
Fane was kind of interesting.
You infiltrated. There was that that was a okay. Yeah, so a lot could have happened in that chapter.
What about?
I mean, it's still being written.
Well, just the way we decide to approach it with the invisibility through like the back door.
Yeah, there's a few different
Sure,
ways.
that was pretty unique versus other people's campaigns.
We used stealth and manipulation.
Well, because I'm sure a lot of people don't get like a Yuanti pureblood thrown into their group
Exactly.
right before they go into the Fane.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah.
unless one of their mains is a Yuanti pureblood too.
I doubt it. I doubt there's many out there.
There's not many people.
I did not roll a Yuanti with any fucking knowledge of the Fane whatsoever. When I rolled my
Right.
Yuanti, it was basically at Taguda Village.
Right.
I was like,
Ah.
oh, the fucking Yuanti are awesome. I'm going to roll a Yuanti. So that goes way back. I've had that alt in the pocket since Taguda Village.
Yeah, I remember looking at it on our D&D Beyond because we can see each other's characters. Like, I just looked at the name and couldn't pronounce it.
Yeah, no, there's a few different ways you could approach that mission.
Could we have taken the boats in?
I mean, even before that point, you could, to gain entry, you could do a full-on
Hey,
attack.
we're there to talk to Rosna Sea.
Yeah, you could get captured, right? So there's I think I mentioned this before. When you guys first entered Omu, there was a group of Yuanti that would follow you, right? And at a good opportunity, they would kidnap one of you.
Yep.
And
No,
take,
never knew that.
Well, no, I mean, I kind of switched it up a bit and integrated different parts of it here and there where I saw fit, because obviously at that point I didn't know K-Way would have to work that overtime and in turn Zavril disappearing, but I remembered reading that and using that as an in that regard. But so a few different ways you could have got captured, and then there was a whole, I don't know if you remember the beginning of Abyss when you were in the prison with all the other NPCs and stuff. Velkenvelv, yeah. And not to give it away or anything like that, but in that regard, there's that whole approach where you play all the different characters. You play your knowledge of all the different names in there against each other, so to speak. Which could have been really cool, and it would have added a whole different element to the show, I think, if that were the case. But that didn't really. I mean, we very much could have done that, and then maybe it was just because we had already done it.
I don't know. I like the way it all played out with Zavril as a slave or being captured, and then us bringing them back in.
And that reminds me, why was Zavril naked again?
Because we made
him naked.
Yeah. We said he was going to be a slave.
He wasn't
and then he starts
naked.
taking off his
What
clothes.
had happened was we took his weapons and his armor to make it look like he was a prisoner.
I don't know. I remember something about him being perfumed and
powdered his ass
and readied.
Like the
Somehow my
Aramaic
pants
thing,
fell off.
we just liked our version better and went with it. We picked that one.
I'm not naked, guys.
Yep. So you did. You stealthed your way in.
He's wearing the footy pajamas with the trap door on the bottom.
Got a pair of those.
As we passed through, I liked the snake character a lot in the storage room, Ozzy Moss. Even
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice flavor.
Going through, I like that character so much. I wanted to know more about him. I was like, I don't know why I like this character so much. There's nothing all too unique about it. It's just cool.
I think it's an interesting encounter.
Yeah,
I mean, you got this constrictor, otherwise normal constrictor, but can talk. That's kind of
right. He was like a full-on snake.
It's kind of that's kind of interesting in its own right. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting, but I get it. It's not like important really, so it kind of gets swept under. But
it's like one of those interesting characters in a show like The Labyrinth or The Never-Ending Story.
Yeah, just a quirky little character in the mix somewhere who's doesn't do anything important or change any kind of event, but they're just there.
But the existence of it, kind of weaves this little story in your brain.
Yeah. I'm like, I like this. Yeah. I like this thing.
Yeah, it helps build up the world and the fane, or going through there.
Yeah, the idea that the Yuan-ti have this constrictor looking after their dry goods, their dry storage, keeping. It's just, I don't know. It just it paints an interesting story there.
Well, and mice like to get into dry goods, and snakes eat mice. So
that makes sense.
Well, actually, it made me think of. Almost like what you said in the movies, like the Hayao Miyazaki films always have like little characters in there. And it reminded me of, I think it's in the Spirited Away movie, but there's like a guy that runs some bullshit on a big bike and he makes the hotel operate a certain way. And he's just down in like a basement
pedaling
and pivotal to like what's going on.
Yeah. Or like in that blockbuster film there with Kevin Costner, Waterworld.
Why do you love Waterworld? I'm a Costner fan.
Who doesn't love Waterworld?
Me and Kevin Costner have the same birthday.
What?
We have the same birthday.
I love Kevin Costner. What's a postman? I'll tell you what a postman is, kid.
I like some of the movies he's in, but he doesn't act like he has the same voice and the same tone.
The same can be said about a lot of great.
It's
Nick
true,
Cage,
but Kevin Costner's
actor.
tone is pretty mono.
Yeah. He's not as animated as like people that just play like Will Smith is just like Will Smith in different situations, which is great. I'll watch Will Smith be Will Smith in anything. I don't care.
Right, but that's the thing, like Kevin Costner. I think if you like him, you don't want him to be anything else.
Yeah,
you want to see Kevin Costner doing those things. But anyway, to my point, the guy on the fucking tug on the giant fucking boat down in the fuel pit. The old guy's down there. I fucking love that guy.
I don't know what you're talking
and
about.
they drop the
I don't watch dumb shit.
Kevin You're missing out, bro.
Said.
It's a good one.
You're missing out.
I've seen it, but it was a long time ago.
Waterworld?
There's this guy down in the fucking
years.
fuel tanks, and in the end, when Kevin Costner throws the match down to blow up the ship,
Spoiler
the guy's
alert.
like, "Oh, thank you,
Thank you.
He He's been wanting to die the whole fucking time. Classic. I love that. That scene made it for me. Not the jet skis and shit. I get it. Anyway, yeah. So going back to the Fane. When you guys entered the actual Fane now.
Much like in Waterworld, K-Way was our bait.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin Costner used to tie himself to the rope to the boat and bait himself to the giant sea monsters.
That's right.
We used K-Way as our bait to get us in there.
K-Way Costner over there. So when you guys entered the Fane, that was kind of a, I think...
His name's Kevin.
His name's K-Way.
So you could just... Okay.
I almost said it myself. Oh yeah, his name's Kevin too.
It wouldn't have been a joke if I said Kevin Costner. All right. Yeah, so when you entered the Fane, you had the blood fountain. And, you know, that whole fucking room is pretty. That's where you are now.
It's pretty
Conan-esque. We
Conan,
mentioned that in there.
Temple of Doom. Yeah.
You know?
A little bit of both. The gong.
You had one job,
Swain. Was
Swain.
Temple of Doom.
I'm a big Conan
Did we
fan.
cover
Conan's
specifically
great.
what the gong did? Did we ever say specifically what the gong
I
did?
summoned in those
I did, but he was...
brood guards.
Okay.
That one brood guard in the main room, his one job was to run in and hit the gong.
And upon a siege? Upon...
Yeah, if anyone attacks, or if anyone's attacking the Fane, his one job is to run in and bang it.
And Cappy's one job was to stop it.
Listen, that was like overtime. Like, I took that job upon myself. I'm there to do it as a favor for the group.
It was like the
It was
drum.
hard. It was a hard money
It
job.
was like
is what he's saying.
it was like the drum in Taguda Village.
That was a success, though.
Yeah.
I think.
We had somebody else on that one.
Yeah.
The second
No,
was-
no,
you
no,
gave
no,
me,
no,
like,
no, we
multiple
didn't.
chances.
I think Irme shot at it and didn't do enough damage, and then actually someone from the forest.
That's right.
Do you guys
Hit
remember
it.
them?
Oh,
Shot
so it was
a,
an NPC.
Yeah.
NPC did it. I gave you guys the opportunity.
Guess was one of the NPCs.
It was the
there.
Arakakra.
Yeah, the air.
Yep.
Arakakra.
Did they have?
They weren't all Arakakra.
No.
What were their names? They were.
They have a group name.
They
They
did.
did. They were like a badass.
What is it, an
group.
H? Were they...
Everybody's starting to pull out their
Everyone's
notebooks.
pulling out. You hear the
When
papers
did I
shuffling.
stop taking notes?
The scale division?
Oh.
Guess Tormac and Katus.
Their sole purpose. Do you guys remember what their...
Looking for magic artifact.
Well, in Taguda Village, yeah. But I mean, the order... they were investigating Yuan-Ti activity, right?
They failed
Right.
too, apparently.
Or did they?
So what was taken from Taguda Village? It wasn't a puzzle cube, was it?
That's right. It wasn't a puzzle
Wait,
cube.
you did
So
say it
what
was
did
like a
Phantasm-
square.
Right. What did Phantaza took something from Taguda Village?
They upheaved something from Rosnasi's sarcophagus.
What? That
Yeah.
was
That was
Rosnasi's
Rosnasi's.
sarcophagus?
Mhm.
Yeah, I buy...
Oh,
I wonder
okay,
if
see,
Svitlongi
I thought-
would know.
I thought that all had to do with some kind of artifact for Camp Righteous and the undead coming to attack Camp Righteous.
that was Rosnasi's That was Rosnasi's resting place. That's where he died.
Yeah, we knew that.
You would have thought
So-
something on the walls would have said his name down there or something.
I didn't realize that was Rosnasi either.
I thought we heard that was the first time we heard the name Rosnasi.
It was.
Oh, was it?
Sybil talked about him.
Yeah, the writing on the wall spoke of. I want to say, was it Om? It was Omu.
Yeah, it
That
told the
was-
Yeah,
story of the
oh.
greed and the blah, blah, blah.
Huh.
And then I think, didn't Sybil tell us about Rosnasi?
Yeah. Well, you guys were reading it, and she kind of came out and reiterated.
And there was the statue of Dendar, which actually began Irme. It's funny, what the Dendar thing is interesting because Irme like fully believed in it. Like immediately was like, this is some real shit. And throughout everything, every like NPCs we've encountered have been like, that's a myth. You know, like every time she's brought it up.
I think Quincy still thinks it's real.
Yeah, but like
he might not have obsessed over it like Jeremy.
Yeah, quite a few NPCs though, when I've mentioned it, have been like, that's foolish. I'm like, really?
Yeah. That's what assholes always say.
Yeah.
Until they get themselves killed in the movie.
Yeah. But from the very beginning, Irme was like, whoa, Dendar.
I think I played that like you have the people of the world have like an immediate threat, right?
Yeah.
And then when you hear a tale about some fucking primordial being resurrected and devouring the world, they're like, please, we have real fucking problems. And here you are talking about that stupid
My
shit.
My fucking crop needs to be watered. Time for Dendar.
Right. Yeah.
Get undead out the yang.
Yeah.
Oh, we got one more thing to discuss.
We hit the Fane. What's the last
one? I definitely thought we were going to lose somebody in that
you got
fight.
Enter Seklock and Separate and Annihilate 1 and 2.
Okay.
So it's the battle with Seklock. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, we covered the beginning of it.
We still don't know the artifact that was taken from Seguda Village. But Seklock, we don't need to dwell on that. Seklock, yeah, what about Seklock? He was
well, the fight
cookie.
starts, Copernicus headed for the gong.
Yep.
Irme goes in kind of the opposite direction. And then Seklock with, was it 2 Yuan-Ti purebloods? No, 2 Malison.
2 Malisons and 3
Brood Guards.
Brood Guards. Yep.
It's a lot of numbers. That's a lot of enemies.
Yeah, because we had a battle. Then the gong got rung.
There was a great battle between good and
battle.
evil.
That's right. Yeah, back to back. You know, and I mean, I had it planned. I had that scripted out. That second part, anyway. You know, with Fenthaza coming in and.
Well, immediately when the battle got that large and all these enemies entered, I started thinking. Me, not Irme, or no, actually, yeah, both, I suppose, started to think, you know, maybe we can get brought to Rosnacy if we, you know, we give information that's alluring enough, or say we're there to help him, or I was even thinking of maybe outing Svitlongi in order to be brought to Rosnacy.
Oh, who's the snake now?
Yeah. Well, so that was, and then essentially that was what ended up, that crossed Irme's mind, and upon that thought, she gets pegged with arrows and just hits the ground.
Mm-hmm. Starts making death saves.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it's because of this fight now, I'm under the impression we're going to have to talk to this Rosnacy.
Absolutely.
We're pretty fucking spent. And
yeah.
There's no long resting down here.
Definitely expecting capture and being brought to him, and or trying to find a way to talk.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Should we talk? Fenthaza enters.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that was mentioned.
Okay.
Fenthaza showed up and
handled Seklock for us basically almost entirely.
Yeah, I'm wondering if she wasn't there, how hard it would have been, if there would have been a party wipe, if we would have lost somebody.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Or if we would have like maybe a couple good rolls, a couple good spells.
Yep.
Was Fenthaza written in, or did you save us from a TPK?
No, Fenthaza was. I wrote Fenthaza in.
So it wasn't spur of the moment decision, but it also wasn't TOA.
It wasn't.
Yeah, you knew she was showing up, right?
At that point, I had to go off the script with the original source because of Svitlongi's entrance into the story.
Right. Okay.
So I had to kind of rewrite some things, but that fight itself was scripted, you know, episodes before with Fenthaza coming in. Obviously, I had to make a few adjustments here and there as you guys were going through, like I always have to do, you know. Right, it's just the nature of the beast. But yeah, the plan was to separate Seklock from Rosnacy, and that was the ultimate goal, right? And I knew Fenthaza would be the one to do it because I couldn't foresee that happening any other way.
Yeah, because
So-
imagine if we also had Rosna C in the mix.
Right.
Yeah, TPK.
Be deadly.
Yeah. It didn't. I couldn't see it any other way of separating the two. So and that's what I came up with. And we'll find out what happens with Rosna C.
If and
All I
when-
know is I am
Closer
beat
to the-
down right now.
The heart of all this.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty soon we'll be entering the actual tomb.
Yeah. If and when we enter the Tomb of Annihilation, I'm interested to see. I bet in there, I would imagine, I don't know if it's true, but it's more scripted and there's less shit that can save our asses.